The Pies sit 10 points clear on top of the table. They've got that much depth that Tom Mitchell came in and showed that he's ready, willing and able. The Blues lost again and didn't even have a seat for Vossi, while the Flying Viking was a major positive for the Saints and Rossi. Dimmer's filthy about the umps getting in the way, and when he was asked about it, Matt Rowell had absolutely nothing to say. Young Sammy Lawler pinked another hammy. The poor kid just needs a clean run, while Jezza kicked goal number 700 and then was giving them off for fun. But I look around and there's barely anyone left. Rabs is in England, even Will's pissed off to Bangkok. But in big boy months, you know that Daisy, Joey and Damo are a lock. To take a look at the weekend's action coming up and all of the news that's happened in between, this is Triple M Footy's midweek rub. I look around, I see that the three regulars are here, but the host chair just continues to change each and every week. I'm Jack Heverin. Joey Montagna is dominating on Fox Footy. He's hosting 360. He's hosting The Couch. He is in all-star form. Joey, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Jack. Yes, that's because everyone's on holidays except us, the hardest working men in the business, and you are the best. So nice to have you on for a couple of weeks. Looking forward to it.
Just remembering how to push all these buttons and all that sort of stuff.
Like riding a bike.
Forgive me if we go off air for a little bit. Daisy Thomas is the solution to Channel 7 not having footy on a Saturday because he's launched his own golf show. Hello, Daisy.
That is correct. 1:37, mate. Make sure you tune in. Hello, Hev. Great to see you. And I like this. A bit of green on that side. Some darker shades
Usual
on this
dark.
side. Yeah,
How'd it go?
good.
How'd the golf show go?
Numbers through the
I
roof.
saw it.
Numbers through the
Was it
roof.
good?
It was very good. So
Nice.
thank you to everyone who tuned in. There's 7 more episodes to go, and I appreciate your support.
Look forward to that. Damien Barrett is the number one newsbreaker in footy and just throwing a few punches of his own in the last 7 days. Hello, Damo.
Yeah, prefer not to. Hello to you too. Jackie boy, as I've been calling you, but I heard Daisy call you Heavenator, and then Bill revealed that your name's really Jared. Not known you for 15 years at least. I didn't know
really?
that.
And all my mates call me Flog, so, you know, you can call me whatever you want.
What do you
Jared.
like? What do you like? Because you know you won't
You can
get
just
what
call
you
me
like.
Jack. That's fine.
Well, Jackie boy works for me, doesn't it?
Yeah, if you feel that way, yeah, sure. Yeah.
All right.
You've got some grey hairs on your chin, but it doesn't make it look any less glass. Is it interesting?
You
Set it
started a
up
war.
for our listeners who may not be aware of what you're talking
Well,
about.
look, there's been wars in the media, and the best one has been me and Kane, and then somehow that has just been overshadowed by Kane and everyone. And this week in particular, well, he's come back at you. He's referred to you as having a glass jaw.
Well, I remember last year, was it last year or the year before maybe? I went into bat for Kane against you, and
I know.
that fractured our,
well,
I think, very solid friendship for weeks after that. I regret doing that.
You've gone full 360.
So I like you a whole lot better, and I always did. I don't know. I think Kane, I've worked it out. Kane just misses people at Channel 9. I've worked it out. Because you don't like him at Channel 7, and he's realised that now, and he just wants to,
So I think
wants
it's
to be loved.
a sign of endearment that when he's getting stuck in you.
He's going me. And Brownie's
Well, he went
Nathan,
Brownie.
he's got-
Yeah.
I'm keen to see Brownie return fire, because I think Brownie's had enough too. So.
Well, Brownie went with something that I rolled out in the coverage and then got it wrong, saying it was at 3/4 time, not before the game. So that wasn't ideal.
that was a big boo-boo.
You sort of got to
So
go.
you're the source of that problem.
Yeah, I'm the source of most problems. Which is good to know. But our boy, you're right, Hev. Joey dominating.
Absolutely
sitting in
dominating.
the seat for Jack Rewalt. Is he on holidays?
Jack's gone to Tassie. I think he's trying to sort out the whole landscape down in Tasmania.
The
Well,
licence.
that's what he said anyway.
Good luck.
So he's going to sort all that out. So
But
he's
I actually,
having a week off.
I don't usually watch on the couch, but I did for this one, and you were outstanding. Like I shouldn't be surprised because when you do host anything, you're a star. But you absolutely dominated. So we look forward to an ongoing seat there. Is
No,
that-
just the one off, Daisy. That's the
Okay.
one off. Just played my role, handed over to the big boys. I threw a few half volleys and I let JB and Bucks and the boys take
Like a
swing.
good host.
Like that's all you got to do as a host. Play the role.
Did you go with anything about weather?
No, left the
What's the reference there?
It was just something that Jack might have butchered.
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh, okay.
Oh, dear. Yeah.
Good
Now,
stuff, that
I
one.
saw you on the phone only moments before we started to record this show, time code at 10:07 Wednesday, but you were very excited when you got off and you were scrawling ferociously. You've got something, and I hope that you're going to give it to our show.
Bit of gold.
The Midweek Rub, and not one of your other platforms.
Well, yeah, okay, I'll give it here.
Some gold.
Look, I've been working on something with Ethan, Red Z Man. He's doing all the numbers. I've had this philosophy about the first to 80, and this is going to revolutionise the game, this philosophy. We've got Lee Matthews' theory about goals per minute left in a game.
Become iconic, yep.
Put this down, make a note, talk about it on your job site, at the pub, wherever you may be.
Before you go with it, other people will steal this. You know that.
And you
So
need to tag it, you
sell
need to
this
own
card.
it, sell it, it's
This
yours.
is Daisy's.
You need a name.
Well, I just put in ChatGPT and that came up with bugger all.
You need something.
No, I'm just calling it the first to 80. That's it. Daisy's first to 80.
A bit.
Okay.
Come up with something.
Well,
We can workshop
all right,
that.
we can workshop
the race to 80.
the race. Oh, that's heaps better. Anyway,
What is
the
it?
theory is, so if you get to 80 points first, you win the game of footy. 114 times this year, a side has got to 80, 111 and 3. 111 wins, 3 losses.
You get to 80 first.
If you get to 80, and then you go, okay, defense wins grannies. Incorrect. The first team to 80 over the last century, this century, I should say,
So, yeah.
only one team has lost. And that was Brisbane in 2023. They got to 81st, and the Pies won in the
and they lost
thriller.
by
Then it was that little Nick Dacos to go. He sort of sent a bounce
Correct,
goal.
yeah.
So this century, one team has lost a grand final when getting to 81st.
So
80 points is all you have to
Throw
worry
every
about.
other stat out the window.
Just go
Just
and
the
go
only
and
one you
score.
So
need.
go your hardest, go for 80, and you're basically home.
You win.
Yep, 97 and a bit %, I think our boy out there with the...
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so there you go.
Daisy's race to 80.
I like it.
Are
Yes.
you on Fox Footy tonight,
I
Joey?
will reference it.
Well, guess
It's
what's
Daisy's
appearing
race-
tonight on Fox Footy?
Daisy's race to 80.
Yeah,
I like it.
there you
Very
go.
good. Yeah, that's a good start.
John Ralph
you.
will wait about a week and then watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, he usually waits about a week these days.
Right,
Yeah,
and how long will Corn wait?
I don't want to talk about corn.
Predictions still to come, as well as fair income or Fugazi, but Damo's news if he's finished belting people. That's up next here on the Midweek Rub. All thanks to BWS. Triple M Footy's Midweek Rub, all thanks to BWS. Joey's here, Daisy's here, and of course, fair income of Fugazi not too far away. And we take a good look at the weekend's games, but let's get all the latest news from you, Damo.
Yeah, I think the Friday night game's the biggest game in Gold Coast Suns history. You could certainly mount that case. I spoke with Mark Evans, the CEO, who's been there now for the best part of 8 to 10 years, and he feels it's the most momentous occasion from a Gold Coast community perspective. I don't think he wanted the headline around it being the biggest game ever, but there's a lot at stake, isn't there, with where this club is at. 10 wins, 5 losses. They've got that game up their sleeve on all other teams alongside Essendon with that postponed opening round match. But they go into this game, I think, up to their eyeballs with a winning chance, and I reckon it would reverberate quite significantly if they were to knock the ladder-leading Collingwood off. Now, people might say Collingwood's ready for a loss, 10 points clear on the ladder themselves, but it's a massive moment. It's been sold out for the best part of 4 weeks. There's a few standing room tickets, which they're trying to actually allocate now. But there's going to be 24,000, which is full capacity. And by all reports, they would have many, many, many more thousands there if they had more access to seats. So big moment for this club, but a big moment in the 2025 season.
Do you reckon it's coincidence that the Collingwood game is booked in school holidays?
It's not a coincidence. No.
But anyway,
But I think that's clever, Joey.
Yeah, absolutely
But
it is.
They've had Collingwood games before, which haven't been sold out.
Yeah.
So, and again, I think it's in keeping with where Damien Hardwick is. He obviously is coaching well. I mean, that's why I got him in. But he's also profile-wise days is saying things regularly. He's taking on even the Victorian Premier, Jacinda Allen. He's having cracks at Ross Lyon over the Nepo baby comments. He's even had a little dig at Essendon last week, who they beat it by 41 points, when he said, I thought they were okay. They normally kick backwards and handball backwards, and today they went forward. Like, he's having digs everywhere. It's increased the profile of the club.
Yeah, that is the most relevant they've ever been in their history. I mean, you could probably go back, was it a decade ago, when Gary Ablett was dominating the competition before he got hurt. It was probably the last time they were most relevant, but this is momentous, absolutely, particularly if they win. If they win, then you go, right, they're playing finals, they're here, they've arrived. If they lose, you sort of there's still going to be the question marks about how genuine are they and where they're at. But I can't wait for the game. I'm with you. I think they are ready for this. This is as good as they are with the way they're playing, the maturity. And I'm looking forward to seeing them take it up to the best.
5 weeks ago, they had a 3-match period where they had a chance to get some decent scalps. They came up against Fremantle, Geelong, had the bye, and then the GWS Giants. They failed all of those tests. So this one becomes the biggest, and I can't wait. I hope that they've learnt the lessons there. I hope the Dimmers building this up as, right, this is your time to arrive, because it takes a performance against a quality opposition. And, you can't sell it anyway that Collingwood are due for a loss with how they're playing. They're just playing brilliant football. Take away that, they can win the game of footy, the Gold Coast Suns, and that becomes a real exclamation mark on the fact that they are a real chance this year to go all the way, not just to play finals for the first time.
Guys, just want to talk hard footy for a moment through your two lenses, please, because Geelong and Collingwood have systems that are transportable against opposition. I mean, Geelong waits to see who they're playing, and I think changes the way they set up. But I raise it in the context of last week, they both introduced aged players into their systems. George Stevens, from a Geelong perspective, who'd been in the lower ranks and around the state for a while, and Rowan Steele, who made a debut for Collingwood, both looked as though they'd been parts of these operations for multiple years. I just wanted to raise it just on what you observed from both these clubs, which are again up the top of the ladder, and how they can just allow players without the experience to come in and be part of successful systems.
Well, one, it is the system, but two, as part of that, if you're in a good spot position to receive the ball in both of those sides, you get the ball. There's no other thought of, I'll look somewhere else. If you run
hierarchy.
There's no hierarchy. Yeah. You run a pattern to get the ball as part of our system or whatever it may be, you get the footy. So these kids that come in who actually know how to play footy, most of the top 50 kids who are drafted know how to find the prune. So they just have a simple philosophy, I believe. The game plan is part of, if you're in the best spot, give it, and then that becomes predictable to everyone else who can read the play up the field, and there's no real surprise as to why this stuff happens.
It's a great system, no doubt, but also coming into an experienced team. As a youngster, it helps when you've got a lot of experience around you to guide you through, just play your role. You don't have to do anything outside the lines, and then you just get involved in the offense, and they're two good teams. So it doesn't surprise me these young players can come in and play well straight away in these two quality teams with senior players.
Rowan Steele from Scotty Penbury said he had a really high footy IQ. Okay. So again, as soon as you pick up the game plan and players like Scotty Penbury know that, you're going to get the footy if you're in a good spot.
Yeah, and it creates a dilemma given what Tom Mitchell did in his first game since Anzac Day of last year. Just to remind everyone, this guy is a Brownlow medalist, a guy who got votes in a Norm Smith medal, a guy who has played at 3 footy clubs and had impact at all of them. And while there is still a narrative, Joey, that it might be between him and Ned Long for that last or that position, the way they both play, I wouldn't be ruling out Tom Mitchell.
Yeah, that's fair. And hopefully, I love Tom Mitchell. I hope he does play. But right now, the analysis hat says, I don't think going into a final series, Collingwood can have Ned Long, Tom Mitchell, Sidebottom, Pendlebury, all through the midfield. I just worry a little bit about leg speed. If they're
How many of the 4 you've mentioned there?
3.
Okay.
So at the moment, you're right.
As Long v. Mitchell,
I still think Long v. Mitchell probably, just for that inside mid role that don't really have the flexibility to play other positions. And at the moment, it's still Ned Long's because he's had the body of work and done a really good job, point of difference. But you're right. If Tom Mitchell keeps getting games, he's going to keep racking up the footy and he's going to make it hard for the coaches. So it'd be a good dilemma for Craig McRae to have late in the season.
And we know he stood up in 2 grand finals. He was great in 2023, and I thought he was equally great and arguably greater from a Sydney Swans perspective in 2016, which they lost.
He's probably more suited to finals footy when it is more contested, hard and tough, and he just feeds it out. He's in that contest and he just dishes out to the runners. So there's no doubt that he'll have a say in finals at some point, I believe. Because
you think he'll play fine if they're fully
fit? It'll be no. Well, that's the thing. Not being fully fit. There's always an injury or something that pops up.
Yep. Western Bulldogs, to your point, Days, with your race to 80, they got to 80 last week against North Melbourne first, but come 3/4 time, there were 78 points on the North Melbourne scoreboard. Now, that's a lot of points to 3/4 time for a team. Is this the one drawback or problem area for the Dogs as they now have 7 matches remaining and a final series to try and recreate the magic of 2016? Is this the one flaw?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's a flaw. And as much as Daisy's race to 80, great stat, and it does back up. Also, the last 20 premiers have been top 6 defensively.
Okay.
So you've got to be strong defensively.
Is there a way they can patchwork it over?
That's what they've got to try and find to do, because it's not as solid defence as the best teams in the competition, but maybe they can just get by and have an offense that is the best in the competition, which they've got. But O'Donnell and Lobb, can they get the job done in finals? They're not great at ground ball in their D50. They're actually the poorest team in the comp. So they've got some issues, but they've got time to rectify it, or they just back their offense in, Daisy, to score more points in the oppo.
Which is working pretty well.
And that's what they did. Yeah, it might have been 78 points at 3/4 time, but it was 85 points total for North Melbourne in the end. So that last quarter is completely dominant, and you go on to win the game by 49 points. To have the power of scoring like that, and again, it's sort of the old school Malcolm Blight. They kick 12 goals, we'll kick 13. That, I think, may be the shift this year and what we're going to see against sides coming into the pointy end of the season.
With the specifics of their game this week against Adelaide and the well-established now tall trio of forwards that Adelaide has chosen to commit to effectively now for the season, do they need to bring someone back in? We've seen Buku Kamas in and out of the team. We've seen Gardner come out of nowhere to play a game recently. We've seen Liam Jones not used since about round 6 or 7. What do they do in this game, and do they need to get one of those three in and keep that person in for the remainder of the year?
I think they're going to bring one of them in.
Won't be Gardner.
No, I think it'll probably be Buku Kamas or Liam Jones because there's flexibility there to put either a Rory Lobb forward or back, and then you can do the same with Buku Kamas.
And they've got Jed Buslinger too, who's had one exposure to senior footy, and he did well against Jesse.
Very rarely do the three talls from Adelaide, and we spoke to Scotty Burns on the weekend. He was saying that very rarely do the three tools be on the ground at the same time. So there's a real rotation philosophy there. So that probably changes.
And they don't fly in the air together either.
A little bit of
So you think because that maybe Bulldogs could get by with, say, a Bailey Williams, if he has to play on Taylor Walker for 5 or 10 minutes, if they have three tools on the ground, they could get by?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
And again, you're probably then dialing up the heat through the midfield so the ball's coming in dirty. If it's coming in lace out, I don't think even one of the better defenders will be stopping it.
Yep. And one more, Days, I'll go through you on this one because I know you've loved the talent of this player for many, many years, but it seems to be coming together for him in 2025 as a 25-year-old. I'm referring to Zach Bailey.
Yeah, I think right now he's playing the consistent footy we've all wanted him to play, or especially me, because I've seen it in glimpses. When he was first on the scene, we probably saw it a little bit more than that little dip that he probably had from the ages 22, 23. He's had big moments in big games, absolutely. But I think now the consistency, he's elevating his game. And the beauty of the Brisbane Lions is it is some of these lesser likes, younger players who are starting to really carry the load.
Yep. The 2 goals he kicked in the 23 grand final, which they lost by a point, are up there with the game's greatest goals in a grand final. So, and even Lockie Neal post-match, Jack mentioned his fitness levels this year and his commitment to being as fit as he possibly can. And it wasn't a criticism of him, it was just an observation. He's got himself absolutely right in all areas of the game, and we see it with a 5-goal performance last week.
We'll see Zach Bailey in action on Thursday night, which is where the round starts. The Thursday night rub will be there from 6 o'clock as well. But up next, it's Fair Dinkum or Fugazi on Triple M Footy's Midweek Rub. Fair Dinkum or Fugazi on Triple M Footy's Midweek Rub. Joey, I'll start with you. Fair Dinkum or Fugazi, Zach Merritt should consider his options or risk never winning a flag?
No, I'm a Fugazi in this camp. I think you back your club in. It's great to be a one-club player. He's just got to trust Essendon and lead them nicely and hope that 2 or 3 years away they can play finals and he can have a crack at it. It'd be the best thing ever for him to finish his career at Essendon playing finals and maybe in a couple of years' time a grand final.
Not bad. Damo. Well answered. Jamie Elliott is now a lock as the All-Australian small forward. Fair dinkum or Fugazi?
Fair dinkum for a lock as a forward. I think he's playing as a full forward, but I think it's going to be very easy to put him in the forward pocket when it comes to the official naming of that team. He's done enough. I think he's been outstanding this year. He's already got a career-high goals tally. And he's going to continue that form right throughout because his body's as good as it's ever been, 13, 14 years in.
A couple of games before the end of the season for Collingwood too where he could fill up a little bit as well. He could put a really big number on the board, couldn't he?
He does. He just hits the scoreboard all the time. His footy smarts are through the roof. And when Bobby Hill gets back, I think it'll even be more enhanced with how he performs goal-wise.
Daisy, the Demons are lucky that Carlton and Essendon have had their struggles this season because they are not going well. Fair dinkum or Fugazi?
No, that's fair dinkum. We've spoken a lot about the other two sides and probably has been swept under the rug a little bit. I think that's sort of been a bit of a theory throughout the year, especially with the Blues. They've covered some holes in Port Adelaide's big losses, and then the Blues have had a worse one. So that's fair dinkum. The Blues at the moment are the saviour for everybody else and a real point of enjoyment across the board unless you're a Blue supporter.
Can't wait for Thursday night in that case. Joey, the weight of a decision has finally got to Tom de Koning. Fair dinkum or Fugazi?
That is fair dinkum. He's playing like someone that's checked out or made his mind up or not fully invested in Carlton. It's what it looks like. So I think that is fair, and it raises the discussion, Damo, that is ongoing about, should players be able to or feel comfortable to announce maybe mid-season and we get mature enough to say, right, next year I'll be playing for X club, but while I'm here, I'm fully committed, as opposed to trying to keep it all in and it gets a bit too much.
It's a great conversation, but it's easier to make the decision in the harsh way if you're at the bottom of the ladder and needing to be seen to be making change like Carlton is. Yeah. If he was playing for Collingwood, 10 premiership points clear, and having a bit of lull in form, they're still going to want him part of their operations, aren't
Still a
they?
big
By way
part
of
of it.
comparison.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's a horses for courses outcome decision.
Daisy, Chad Corns being moved on at Port Adelaide is the beginning of major change at the Power. Fair dinkum or Fugazi?
I think that's fair dinkum. Chad, obviously, strong links and a big supporter of Kenny. So I think that's probably the first reason why he was the domino to fall. Had a really good relationships from all reports, excuse me, with Zach Butters, which now becomes interesting. But I think when you are Josh Carr, you need to, and you would want to come in and make sure there isn't too many of Kenny's men left, any sort of chatter about that. So I think
Do you think that's a big thing, do you, Daze? Because I would have argued the quality of being loyal to the coach is first and foremost at a footy club, and you are loyal to the position as much as the individual. But do you think there is politics?
Well, arguably, Chad was the most loyal to Kenny. He was one of Kenny's guys, and he was first to go. And you look at their other assistants, Tyson Goldsack's there, who has some experience within sort of sitting in that coach's box, but they're very young otherwise. So Josh will have some options as to who he wants to bring in, but I think we'll see some serious movement by the end of August, is it?
Start of August, I think coaches need to know. I think it's
1st of August.
1st of
Yeah,
August. So that's why the next few weeks, some assistant coaches, particularly if they ask, will find out so they can start planning. The reason why they do it is for the assistant coaches to start to look at other clubs and other options rather than leaving it too late.
Because it is tough for the assistant coaches. They don't get paid anywhere near what the work that they do represents.
And there's only a certain amount of jobs.
Only a certain amount of jobs. And if they've got young families and needing to move to states that are outside of their base, it's an issue.
Damo, fair dinkum or Fugazi, we need to get our head around the fact that Thursday night is a broadcast-first product and not focus on crowd numbers.
I'll say Fugazi because certain states outside of Victoria do embrace, I think, in just without analysing the numbers, better than Victoria does when it comes to Thursday night footy. So, but there needs to be a major look into what it's doing because it has been part of a fixture this year, the Thursday night fixture, that has sucked a lot of life out of the excitement levels, I think, of a round of footy.
Were you disappointed in the crowd for North Melbourne and Western Bulldogs, considering what was not on the line for the Western Bulldogs, but the celebration for North?
Yeah. And again, you then get back to the decision that the North Melbourne Footy Club made to highlight and request a Thursday night fixture at this stage of a season that has again gone badly against maybe a Saturday afternoon game where you might have been able to get more access to your loyal and your core fans with families. So again, there's a wider conversation around all of that. But to answer your question, that was a bad crowd for that moment.
And I just wonder whether there's a catch-22 around putting some massive games or the bigger games on Thursday nights, thinking that you could get bigger crowds for another night of the week. But then you don't want to put the smaller crowd or smaller games on the Thursday night because then you do get less crowd. So it's if you put Collingwood Essendon on a Thursday night, are you still going to get 90,000 like you would on a Saturday afternoon or a Friday night? So I suppose that's the dilemma with the broadcasting. How big of a blockbuster game do you put on a Thursday night?
Yeah, and the need to protect, in inverted commas, I use that word, Channel 7's relationship with the AFL, given they've lost or chosen to not be part of the Saturday coverage. So they want the Thursday night, I suppose, protection element of that game.
But they're fine. They've got Daisy's golf show now, so they're fine on a Saturday.
They're
well and truly taken care of. Joey, to you, the Stevie J stabbing case is now believable after the nurse in question appeared on the Sunday Rub.
No, that's Fugazi.
Yeah, good call.
But there's more questions than answers.
Oh, really?
I
I thought it was cleared up.
Didn't really put it
DPI
to bed.
fake. It was something. There
was something about that.
Warts all over it. That
Something
story.
about that nurse. Yeah, I wasn't 100% convinced. So
I spoke to Nathan Brown, and he said he was a buyer of that story now.
yeah, Daisy and I are a bit more.
Oh.
Daisy's got that more cynical view. He thinks no one walked on the moon, so he's got his radar up.
I'm starting to
And
be on Daisy's side on that too.
And Brownie prays to
Daisy?
himself.
One for you, a little bit of audio here.
If there was a band in the world that you want to get back together to do a reunion, who would you choose?
I've still got a soft spot for ABBA, and that's never going to happen. What's wrong with that?
I wouldn't tell too many people that.
What's wrong with that? Chief, you normally like my music taste. You don't like this one.
No, looking at him.
Come on, Chief.
Did you just say ABBA?
Yeah, I'd like him to reform.
Daisy,
I stand by it, Jack.
Damo being an ABBA fan was not on our 2025 bingo card.
Yeah, that's fair income. Oh. Come on, Damo. Move the hips.
Non-dancer, non-singer. Just appreciate good quality music.
Look, I didn't. It wasn't on my bingo card, but quality band.
It was an answer I gave really quickly.
Without
I
much
stand
thought.
by it.
Without
I
much
stand
thought.
by it. But geez, the reaction Chief gave me, who I think had to that point really liked my song choices on Friday nights. I think I've lost a lot of ground there.
It was the second worst answer on Triple M Footy that weekend behind JC Clark's. Who's your favourite North Melbourne player of all time?
What did he say?
Did he go with Matt Allison?
Matt Allison.
And he meant to say,
Brett Allison.
but even that, even if you got the name right of all time, like, good player, no.
And if you listen back to the podcast, there was silence from us because the three of us looked at each other and went, who the bloody hell's Matt Allison? So, one last one for you, Damo.
Yep.
Nath Brown's slaughtering Oasis should be played over and over and over.
Fair dinkum. It's one of my favourite media moments in Nathan Brown's time as a player
He was
and
trying.
media. He pulled the look off. If you have the vision running alongside the audio there, he's got the sunnies, he's got the swagger, which he always had as a player and a performer. No,
But he was
it's
trying with
a
the
rip-off.
voice.
Yeah,
wasn't
he
he
was
was
trying
actually
to get
trying
the
to
voice
sing
sounded all right.
properly. Yeah.
Not good. Fair dinkum or Fugazi with thanks to BWS. On the other side of this, we take a good look at all the weekend's footy. This is Triple M Footy's Midweek Rub, exclusively on the Listener app. Triple M Footy's Midweek Rub with Joey, Daisy and Damo, all thanks to BWS. The round starts on Thursday night from 6 o'clock. You can hear it on Triple M Footy and the Listener app with the Thursday Rub ahead of the Blues and the Lions at Marvel Stadium, which is where we start with our predictions, boys.
What's acceptable, Daisy? What do we sort of accept from Carlton tomorrow night?
I've given up. I've given up on predicting. I've given up on asking for physicality. I've given up on having hope. The last 2 weeks,
There's no green shoots.
there's zero green shoots. I'll put it to you that they've taken Roundup to the backyard and there's nothing growing whatsoever. I went with it against Port Adelaide after North Melbourne came out and physically targeted. I thought that was a little bit of hey, this is a reminder. We might not be in the best form, but if you come out with a real reason, a passion, a purpose, you can get a result. Didn't happen. Against Collingwood, they were high-fiving players on the way to the goal square. Didn't happen.
Before the game started.
Before
though.
the game, every man just went out and stood next to their opponent. You're going to lose that game 10 out of 10 because Collingwood are a better side with better players, with a better system. You've got to do something against Brisbane this week, and I don't know what it is. So I think Brisbane by how far, what's serviceable, anything under 6 goals, I think would be a win almost for Carlton at
But
this
you're
point.
expecting 10-plus goals?
On what we saw, and over the past 3 weeks now, I don't think you can mount any case other than it should be a 10-goal win. But again, this is the beauty of what this season has thrown up. They're a better side than what they dished up the last 3 weeks, but I don't see it.
You're the most positive person I know in footy media.
Oh,
I've
it's
never
a-
seen
it's
you
a frustration,
as down
Damo. No,
about
'cause
anything.
I feel, and
Into a microphone at least, anyway.
anyone, and Blues fans especially, I lived it. Like, I've been there through the hard times, which this sort of looks like it's happening again. You've hoped that they'd come out of it and at some point there'd be success on the horizon for the football club, for the fans, for the coaches. Blokes like Paddy Cripps who've been there, 2 Brownlow medals. He couldn't have done much more of the heavy lifting. You know, just at some point you thought the trajectory would be up and looking like it was going to be sustained and up. Blues fans at the minute, they're sitting there like me. What is this again? How are we here? So I don't know what we're going to get, but what I've seen the last 3 weeks has been tremendously disappointing.
We've touched on it already. Friday night, it is the Gold Coast Suns in their moment of truth against Collingwood at People First
Do you
Stadium.
want to give it a tip on that one?
I was going to
Sorry,
say,
Damo,
I was,
sorry.
on the back of that, Brisbane Lions by 123 points.
Obviously Brisbane will win.
What do you think's acceptable? Inside 6 goals?
Competitive loss, yeah. If they give effort and they play how they should and they get beaten by 5 goals because
Jeez,
Brisbane
it's
are
a-
better, that's all you want to
It's
see.
a cop-out, I think, at the minute to be saying bring effort. Like,
Yeah, I know. It should be a minimum
it-
standard. Yes,
yeah.
I know.
And the fact that hasn't happened for a month.
And they're missing 8 or 9 of their best 23 as well, Carlton.
And to
so they
actually
can't
say
win.
before the game started, you're happy with a 6-goal loss too. It's just, I suppose it
Yeah.
reinforces where this club has fallen to.
Yeah.
Friday night, it's the Gold Coast Suns in their moment of truth against Collingwood at People First Stadium, Joey.
Yeah, can't wait for this one. This will be fun. Tipping this one is hard. Who's going to get 80 points first? Daisy?
I'm going to go
Gold
first here.
Coast.
I've been
You're
mulling
on?
this all week, and I didn't know I was going to have the courage to pick Gold Coast, but I'm going to.
You're gonna
Jack.
do it.
So,
Oh.
Suns, even though I
I'll
love
get 80
Collingwood.
points. I'll get 80 points first.
Fearless. Gold Coast Suns for me too. I'm tipping the upset.
I'll go with it as well. I'll go
There you go.
Gold Coast too.
Saturday afternoon, the first game. Could be a lot of fun, this one. The Western Bulldogs and Adelaide under the roof at Marvel Stadium.
Yes, I'm calling this one for Fox Super Saturday. Looking forward to it. Dogs for me under the lid at Marvel. They play very well there. I think that the Dogs will make their mark.
I would be more confident in tipping Adelaide if Rochelle was part of the mix. He won't be and probably won't be for the rest of the year, but I'm going to still go with the Crows without confidence in this game.
Yeah, I think it's another good game of footy. Not as many eyes will be on it, though, as teeing off with Daisy Thomas will be on 7, mate, so everyone will be looking there. I am going to tip the Western Bulldogs again, just on the fact that I think at the moment they're playing some really good footy, and they win this one, then the draw really opens up for them to have a tilt at top 4.
The middle game, GWS playing host to Geelong at NG Stadium.
Gee whiz.
You know my rules.
Well, this
You
one's at
just tip
NG,
Geelong.
though, but you keep tipping Geelong?
Oh, I'm not.
Giants
I've got
have
no
beaten
reason
them.
to not tip
Yeah,
Geelong.
Giants have beaten
Although
them the
apart
last
from that
3.
record, but Geelong for me.
I'll stick with Geelong. No confidence. This is toss a coin.
Yeah, I'll stick with
You
the
got it out
Cats.
this time?
Yeah, I toss a coin. I thought about it before I said it. Yeah.
I think about it a lot, and I still get it wrong.
Just took that extra second. You can notice that. Saturday night at the Triple MCG, it'll be the Tigers and the Bombers.
Think the Bombers. Bombers are playing good footy.
Are they?
I like the way they played for 3 quarters against Gold Coast. Yeah.
They lost by 41
They
points.
did in the end. Damo, stop being so cynical. It was a strong 3 quarters.
Just
I think
dealing
they-
facts,
I
Joey.
think they win.
Essendon,
Oh, you're both
yeah.
thinking
Oh,
about
I am, but
No, Richmond's
Yeah.
the bottom's falling out of Richmond, but
it. They have
I'm
one,
not
they have
at
one little
all-
fight left in them.
I'm not at all excited by what I see with Essendon.
I'll tip the Bombers with zero confidence, and I hope that Richmond can take it right up to them.
Sometimes when you're a bottom team, Daisy, you get yourself up for there's a game that you see is winnable, and you sort of, for some reason, you sort of really set yourself. So maybe the Tigers can find something in this one.
2 games on Saturday night. The other is Fremantle and Hawthorn at Optus Stadium.
Another good game of footy.
it
Last
is.
week's rounds were absolutely pox, and this week is some
Good
really
games.
good footy. Freo at home, playing some decent enough footy, Joey. Lost to Sydney. Is that a blip?
They weren't playing great before that. North Melbourne, they had to shake.
They won
Essendon,
6
they
in a
had to
row.
shake.
They won 6 in a row.
St Kilda, they had to shake
Gold
late.
Coast.
But they had won 6 in a row.
No, you just look at wins and losses, Dave.
Oh, well,
there's
sorry.
more,
That's
yeah,
what
the
usually
result.
determines who gets to the
Yeah,
finals
it
and
is,
who
but
wins
there's more
flags.
to it in regards to how a team's
Sorry,
playing.
yeah. Oh, their inside 50s are good, are they? And their pressure acts and all your champion data rubbish.
No, on that then, I'm tipping the Hawks. I think they'll have too much firepower.
Saw the vein in Damo's head just start to
Yeah.
flare all of a
I like
sudden.
I'm going to, again, no confidence on this. How could there be in this game? But I'm going to stick with Freo at home.
How can you tip Freo? Hawthorn have won more games than them, haven't they? One more.
Line.
Well, no, you tip the teams-
Freo's out of the 8,
Yeah.
but there's 6 in a row. I wasn't too disappointed with the Swans game last week. It only fell away in
Confused
the
yourself.
only fell away in the last quarter for the Dockers. They
Yeah.
and they didn't. I mean, Jackson didn't get a touch in the last quarter, having been really good to that point. So Dockers for me.
I think Doc must win for Doc. This is a big game for that football club, so I hope they stand up and win.
Sunday afternoon, back at the Triple MCG, Melbourne and North Melbourne. First up.
If North bring what they did for a half again, they'll be competitive.
Yeah,
They were very good against
Just a half.
the Western Bulldogs.
It's a tough one, isn't this? I think
This is a tough
I
game.
think Melbourne, but I don't know why.
I'm the same with Joey. Yeah,
Tipping, that's not your certainty.
it's a tough round, isn't it?
No.
As we wade through these games, this is a tough round of footy.
It is
To
actually.
tip.
St Kilda and Sydney at Marvel Stadium in the middle.
It's another one, isn't it?
Saints could win this.
Saints could win
They've
this.
been playing well, the Saints. I
Yeah.
know they haven't been winning, Damo, but they challenged Collingwood. They took it
Yeah.
right up to Fremantle. And the game last week against the Hawks, I thought they probably should have won if they could have finished their work. They just couldn't finish their execution inside 50. So I'm giving the Saints a big chance. in
I'm
this
not
one.
disagreeing with that, but you can be lulled into feeling you're going better than
Yeah.
you are with losing. And the Swans, I think, have got their form back with the re-inclusion of particularly Errol Gordon.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Swans will be winning that one.
And we finish off with Port Adelaide and the West Coast Eagles at the Adelaide Oval.
Port. Margin, 47.
39.
28.
It's been Triple M footy.
It certainly has. And you can catch every game of round 18 on Triple M and the Listener app starting tomorrow night.